Maverick News, the antivirus program for your mind. And now, the Freedom Reporters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Breaking news tonight out of Denver. Plane crash. Here I have a little bit of video lined up for you here. 4 taken to hospital. A 1969 Beechcraft 35 burst into flames after attempting to land on a street in what appears to be a residential area. Let me see what I've got here. There's a little bit of video coming out of there for us tonight. Here we go. Removing wreckage from the scene tonight in Denver. And let me just see here. I've got, as I say, this is fresh information. 4 people, as I say, hospitalized in serious to critical condition. It crashed into the front yard of a Denver home. It was trying to land on the street. The plane, of course, burst into flames, as I said. Injuries to the plane's 4 passengers included burns and other injuries that we're not entirely aware of yet. So this was, again, a 1969 Beechcraft 35. It crashed about 15 minutes just after taking off from Centennial Airport, south of Denver. It was headed to another suburban airport located approximately 30 miles to the northwest, Rocky Mountain Metropolitan Airport. The pilot, who is as yet unidentified, radioed that he was experiencing engine problems shortly before the crash and planned to land at Rocky Mountain, which was possibly even visible from the air at that point. However, rather than do that, the pilot tried to land in the street in the residential neighborhood. The plane's left wing hit a large spruce tree. The plane then went down the roadway, skidded, and veered into the yard. The plane also collided with a pickup truck. It was parked on the street in front of the home. It pushed the truck right up into the home's driveway and into another truck. Firefighters on scene. They've been there all day. First responders taking care of things. The investigation is continuing. That's been the scene pretty much all day. Here's a photo of the front yard from one of the local media sources in that Denver suburb. So chaos, mayhem, confusion. It looks like injuries at this point. No word on, no indication that anyone has been killed at this point, so that would be a miracle. And we'll continue to follow that. If there is anything new through the course of the broadcast, I will update you. What else do we have going on? Dragon is back live at McGill University. We'll go to him in just a moment. He's going to talk about the takeover of the administration building that took place there yesterday and how the administration views what happened yesterday. I think that the words from the university president might surprise you. And then Joseph Leonard will join us, and he's going to bring us up to speed on the Hunter Biden trial, which he has been following for us. Putin speaking at the economic summit in St. Petersburg. He's saying the BRICS nations are going to end up with a currency that will replace the U.S. dollar. Quite a prediction, and reinforces what we've been saying here on Maverick News for months now. The U.S. dollar is about to face a serious international challenge. Also, fire in the sky, fire from the sky, fire toward a Lamborghini on the ground, incoming fireworks. An extreme stunt by a YouTube live streamer may cost him 10 years of his life while he spends that behind bars. We'll explain. All that and a whole lot more, including what Alex Jones is doing about his bankruptcy, coming up right here on the Maverick News Channel. Do not go away. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200 until you come back with us on the other side.
Maverick News. The world is watching. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, let's bring in the man, Dragon, out of his lair and on scene at McGill University tonight. Hello, Dragon. Welcome back.
What's up, Maverick? Good evening, everyone.
Well, I'm glad that you're going to tell us what's up, because it's been a busy 24 hours at McGill, reaching a peak last night when we saw police move in and break up the protesters after about 50 or 60 people moved into the administration building and staged something of an occupation. We've got a statement that was issued today by university administrators, but before we get to that, let's get to the latest and tell us what's going on. What's the lay of the land there? Give us your take on what's happening on the ground.
Well, as you know, this morning, the head of McGill University, Deep Hosseini, has stated that the protest was not peaceful anymore, and they will have to dismantle soon the encampment. So we'll see probably an end of the occupation of the McGill campus in a near future.
I see. So let me just bring up some video from yesterday where we did see, this is the protesters in the administration building, and they sort of, I would say they're not just protesters here, they're now occupiers again. In they went. And hanging their banners, their flag and their banner outside those windows. One banner says, "You could have divested 41 days ago." So this would now be day 42. So that was yesterday, and tell us what's going on there now. Give us a description of the scene.
Well, the scene is pretty empty. Well, there's a few people. There's not much going on. Probably a few tambourine here, but they're pretty much calm tonight. And I think yesterday was a kind of a cold glass of water spilled in their face. Probably if they have used some of it after being spread of pepper.
Do I hear drumming in the background? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, there's a little bit of drumming, but they are not loud. They're just enjoying a little chanting. Really,
yeah.
It's not that loud as usual.
Okay.
Looks like the end of the party.
I gotcha. And so, how many people would be out there tonight? Is the crowd bigger or smaller than last night?
I can count easily about 10, 15 person around the campment. So, yeah.
Okay.
There's probably only like 20 person maximum that I can see.
I see. And so no just sitting around drumming, much more peaceful tonight.
Yes, indeed. It's basically just a little chanting and fun, kind of a, the only thing that is missing is a bonfire and some marshmallow.
Okay, so what are we seeing here? So we do know that the statement was issued today by McGill's administration. And a total of 13 people were arrested on charges of breaking and entering in connection with the occupation of that administration building last night, which we had live on Maverick News thanks to Dragon and his work there. 2 others were taken into custody for allegedly obstructing a police officer. And all of the people arrested have been released after signing a promise to appear in court. So over the course of about a 6-hour period, police moved in, and as we saw yesterday, they used tear gas. I think they were using pepper spray at times. The protesters had erected a sort of a makeshift barrier in front of the administration building that was taken down by police, I guess, at the time of the breakup. And just to give us a recap, Dragon, on what you saw as police moved in and began trying to disperse the crowd. What was done?
It was pretty chaotic, and I could smell basically the pepper spray or the maces around because my nostril was burning at some point. So but it wasn't too bad because I wasn't close enough from the bombing or with the maces. Bit of bang grenade used also. So yeah, it was pretty intense. kind of stressful at some point, but never I was fearing for some reason. I was head down, and it was a fun experience.
Yeah, so in addition to all of that, Montreal Mayor Valerie Plante commented on social media saying protesting is a fundamental right, but it does not justify violence and the illegal occupation of McGill premises. The SPVM intervened last night, she says in her post, to restore order following the excesses of a group of protesters and continues to be on site to monitor the situation. We have full confidence in the SPVM officers to manage this difficult situation, and we remain in close contact with their team. So, of course, that was yesterday. It's a totally different scene tonight because that occupation of the building has been, well, what it was broken up. And now things have gone back to just a straight up encampment, I guess, on the front lawn. Is that what we're looking at?
Yep. I'm right in front of the Roddick gate. So this is where the encampment is. And yeah, it's still pretty, not too much animated. And probably, you know what? I think I can recognize one lady or a guy around there that was part yesterday of the of the chaos. So
Yeah,
that's
and so yeah, the Vice Chancellor and President of McGill, Deep Saini, issued a statement this morning saying the latest that what happened yesterday was the latest escalation in a series of incidents that have occurred since April 27th. And these are his words: when the encampment first appeared on McGill's lower field. He goes on to say McGill supports the right to freedom of expression within the limits recognized by law. We strongly condemn, he says, the use of intimidating, aggressive, harassing, or illegal tactics such as those seen yesterday. None of this is peaceful protesting, he states very clearly here. It is designed to threaten, coerce, and scare people. It is completely unacceptable. So in his statement, he wrote that the protesters blockaded several entry doors using chains or furniture and attempted to remove inner doors to access offices. They vandalized parts of the exterior and interior of the building, according to the university president, and locked themselves in one room and damaged furniture. He goes on to say protesters also attempted to build a barricade outside the building, but police quickly dismantled it. Some staff were forced to shelter in place while those occupying the building banged on the doors and yelled threats. Staff working in the building reported that they heard chants of violence now, violence now. And all of that happening while we were told that the protesters were informed at least one journalist on site there last night that they were not preventing people from leaving the building, while at the same time many of them were shouting those chants of violence now, violence now. What do you think of that, Dragon? What do you make of it?
It's completely unacceptable that these guys were probably chanting these kind of rhetoric while being inside one of the most important building of the campus. And one thing I realized also is that yesterday, some people, like those people that is behind me right now, this is where a bunch of these people were still there. And there were another march. As you remember, I was following the march at some point, right? So if I do go back to or referring to one of the paperwork or brochure that I've read from them, it's one way to steer people apart and even try to destabilize a police force. So that we got to take probably into account.
Okay, well, let's bring Joseph in. Is that a nod if you're ready to come in, Joseph? All right. Okay, we're going to bring him in since he's in the back room. And he's kind of observing from the other side of the border over there in Detroit, Michigan. Welcome to the show again, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not as if this is unknown to us. We've been seeing this go on at many of our campuses too, and some campuses keep tolerating it, and others finally have woke up that if you keep allowing it, you're going to keep getting more of it. And like I typed in the chat, I know you, Rick. I'm sure Dragon, Lori in the chat. We support free speech. But when you go over that line to threats, intimidation, and literally domestic terror tactics and violence, it has to be quashed.
Yeah.
It is.
And, yeah. And I appreciate your perspective on this. And of course, there it is. This is something you've studied extensively. You've got your book, Terror Strikes. This is something you paid a lot of attention to. So I know you're dialed right into it. And Dragon, what are we looking at here? Just describe that scene for us. They have banners up, and you're kind of shooting from a distance. And maybe you can explain to people again why you're kind of hanging back the way that you are.
This is actually the encampment, so there's banner all around the encampment. So
those chairs, so kind of where those chairs are, is that like, what do they have, like rope or something set up around there? You're not supposed to go past that line? Is that what I'm seeing, or am I, no?
No, it's just where they come and sit probably once in a while, but as you can see, it's been raining, so
yeah.
But you can see mostly that's what I'm trying to show is the encampment.
Right. And so you're kind of staying back where you are because why? We've seen on every occasion that you've gone there, they've said they don't want you on the lawn. Or am I, explain where you're allowed to go and what restrictions the protesters have placed upon you. Any tonight?
Actually, no. I'm not being restricted at the moment. Well, I didn't went too close also from the encampment. Because actually this is, if you can see it from this perspective, around those tents, this is where I was standing most of the time when I was pushed around. So I'm just being probably like 10 meters, 15 meters away from where I'm usually standing. So I'm trying to just keep respect, if you will.
Yeah, and stay safe. That's I guess that's the big thing for me is it's like they've seized the property and they're telling people like you can come in but you can't, you're not allowed, but it's a common area, it's open to the public, and yet they're not allowing the public to access it. Only they get to go, and the people that they choose to go there. Then they, to me, that's authoritarianism. And an absolute violation of other people's rights. And that, again, is where you cross the line. For me, someone that, I advocate for freedom. And that's totally not right. Freedom.
Yeah, Frick, I was going to go even harsher and further. You used authoritarianism. And I agree. It's fascistic control of territory they don't even own. Like I said pre-show and mentioned in the chat, this is Palestinian, right? They're complaining about occupation in Middle East, and irony they don't get when they are literally occupying property doesn't belong to them to try to make their point.
Now, see, that's the thing, though. They would argue that it does belong to them. And we saw yesterday when they took over the building, they claimed ownership of that and all of Turtle Island. It's their assertion then that they own all the land in Turtle Island, which is basically all of North America, part of Central America, and some other areas. And so that's why they feel justified in doing what they're doing. They don't acknowledge the sovereignty of Canada. They don't acknowledge the legitimacy of the Canadian government or any of the provincial or local governments. So they have no jurisdiction in their view. So they claim that it's indigenous land essentially, and that they're in control. So that's why they are acting the way that they're acting, and this is the pushback against the government, saying that your government isn't real. Not only are they saying that Israel is not real, they're saying that Canada is not a real country.
Yeah, well, let's examine that idiotic indigenous natives line of thinking. People who are completely devoid of history. The Native Americans warred tribe to tribe for colonization of other tribal area territories. This is human nature throughout all of history. It didn't just begin at the, settlers coming to North America or the end of World War II and the creation of Israel. This is a human nature thing. Might makes right. Not really, but kind of, right? I mean, whoever's currently with the military holding the ground, it's kind of their land.
Mm-hmm. That's ultimately what it comes down to. There were wars, there were disputes, struggles, and
tribe to tribe. Cherokees were forever fighting Iroquois and Blackfoot and blah 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 yada yada yada. So who does what really belong to? Nobody or everybody.
That's one of the things that I think people who are not familiar with history, they're making this assumption that the land belongs to the indigenous people, but even before European settlers or colonizers or however you want to, or explorers, however you want, whatever word you want to use, before Europeans arrived here, everything was divided up, and you had nomadic tribes, and different tribes had different areas. So it wasn't like one. And even now in Canada, you have dozens and hundreds of different First Nations tribes, and you have nations within a nation. And the history here is somewhat different than it is in the United States, in the way that First Nations interacted with the government here. Tecumseh sided with the British to repel Americans, and then you had treaties signed so that it guaranteed the existence of First Nations tribes as nations within the nation of Canada, and that exists even today. I would say that those treaties protect the existence, the sovereignty even, of those First Nations in this country, and those protections are needed. They should be guarded and valued, and the Canadian government has been doing more to more properly honor the not only the letter of those treaties, but also the spirit of those treaties. Canada is going through a process right now where they are renegotiating and rewriting a lot of treaties. So we saw a ceremony with regard to that about a week and a half ago.
And the same is true here in the U.S. Wilson, the Democrats, and Trail of Tears aside, for the most part, the U.S. indeed also honored treaties. Sometimes, which is not to say things were perfect and great. Again, Trail of Tears, it was a broken treaty. The natives sometimes broke the treaty. The government sometimes broke treaties over continual additional land grabs and sovereignty. So these are complicated things. Human nature, we may not like it, but there is a warring nature in humanity. And it's sad that we can't get past that, but we never have and likely never will.
Isn't it interesting how the conversation has quickly turned from Gaza and what's going on over there to First Nations land claims here in North America because of the encampment at McGill University. And that is because what we're seeing on these university campuses across North America is really not just about Gaza at all. It's really more about what we're talking about right now, and that's these ongoing efforts to assert ownership over really all of North America and these land claims.
Yeah, no. As I did on my Constitutionalist Politics show a few weeks ago, it's all leftist ideology revolutionaryism, right? Communist, fascist, socialism. This isn't the 1930s. They're all one morphed commie, fascist, socialist thing now. And the issue is never the issue. It's only about what can be spun now to be anti-Western and tearing down the West, the U.S., Canada, Britain, Spain, France, even Germany and Italy, now our allies, of course, after World War II.
And you know, Reagan said that if fascism ever comes to America, it will come in the form of liberalism. I've been using the phrase for several years, communo-fascism. I've been talking about the convergence of the extreme left and the extreme right to create communo-fascism. I'm finally seeing some people latch on to the phrase liberal fascist, which in my estimation is essentially them saying and describing this in the same thing that I've been seeing, just using liberal fascism instead of communo-fascism. And then I stumbled on this today, guys. This actually just illustrates my point, and I was surprised. I don't look at Max Blumenthal's material very much because I just don't put much stock in it. But on his Twitter account, I just happened to see this today, and this just proves exactly what I've been saying. Look at this. What does he have posted on the top of his on his Twitter banner? The Gray Zone, which is his media outlet, is a far right and far left news, web, and blog, founded and edited by journalist Max Blumenthal. And he has to be the number one hater of Zionists in America today, I think. He's done more to attack Israel than just about anybody I know. He has some mentors, some people he has learned the ropes from who are prominent within the anti-Zionist movement. But Mr. Blumenthal, he's sort of the king of anti-Zionist media, I guess, and he is telling you right there, he's telling you exactly what he is. He's a communo-fascist or a liberal fascist, is a far right and far left news, web, and blog.
I've got a problem with that because there's no such thing as you can be compatible both right and left. This is the whole lie of the left. The political spectrum on the absolute far right, which is nobody on the planet I know, complete anarchy. No government. Every man, woman, child for themselves. No rules.
Yeah.
Everybody for themselves.
Well,
that's far right. Far left is top-down tyranny. That is communism, fascism, socialism, monarchy. That's all leftist.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends on how you draw that chart, right? And I agree with you. I think that it's all on the left. All the authoritarian is on the left, and over here, as you move further away, you get less and less and less government until you get all the way to anarchy.
You cannot argue that Nazis were anarchists or small government.
Right.
You just can't argue that. That's a left-wing, fascistic, tyrannical, just like all the others. We get to lord over everybody else. That's everybody and everything on the left.
Nevertheless, the point Max Blumenthal just made it for me, though, and that is that you have a liberal fascist or a communo-fascist running the gray zone. That's what he is.
That's what I agree with that. Yeah. Liberalism, or as Dennis Prager says, and I agree with. I don't like necessarily the word liberal because there are like a Brandon Strock or a Candace Owens or a Tammy Bruce, classical liberals who can red pill and wake up and and realize what's going on. But like Prager says, a leftist you will never get through. So I prefer to say leftist rather than liberal because some of those liberals actually still believe in free speech and things and freedoms, and hopefully we can still reach them.
Yeah. So, hey, Dragon, are you able to get a little bit closer to any of that to get us maybe a little bit better footage without running afoul of
Sure.
anybody to stay safe,
can
but
try
maybe
that.
we can get a little bit closer? It'd be nice if somebody
Sure.
there would actually
Actually,
be brave enough to speak with you and talk to you tonight, but my goodness, it's so hard to get
I would like
anybody
to.
to what's that?
I would like to.
Yeah, I know. I know it's so difficult because they're either camera shy or they're hostile, and
Yeah.
that's
Well,
just
most
terrible.
of them don't know anything, but the
So
lines
we got a
thought
beautiful
Oh, let's
view, I
listen
think,
to him.
here. We got a beautiful view here, I think.
Yes,
So
yes.
we got a beautiful group behind us, drumming, and yeah. So beautiful evening, right?
It is. It looked like it rained a little earlier, and it didn't scare them away. They're still there, camped out, doing their thing.
Oh well, you know me, I'm not scared of rain either. So
Well,
this is
Well,
this is part of our weather.
yeah. Well, we know what's going on there tonight. It looks like it's all peaceful on the Montreal front at McGill University. So with that, Dragon, I guess I'll just throw it over to you for some final thoughts from the campus, and then we'll let you go, and we'll move on to the other top stories of the day. Go ahead.
Final thoughts. Let's always get our boots on the ground and just show the world how Montreal is able to fire up a little bit.
Okay.
Have
Dragon.
a good one, guys.
And one other thing, remind people again where they can find your work. You've got your new Facebook channel up there too, right? So tell
Yeah,
people how to find you.
It's Dragon for everyone who wants to follow me on Facebook. The One Rising Dragon on YouTube and also on X, formerly Twitter. And that's probably all that. So,
Okay.
good evening, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dragon.
Have a good one, Joseph, also.
Okay.
Good seeing you again, Dragon.
Awesome work as usual. Thank you. Really, 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 really appreciate it. Awesome. Thank you.
Dragon out.
Okay. And he's off back to the dragon's lair.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay.
You know what we need to get him, man? We need to get him a dragon mobile so that he can drive around and patrol like Brampton Batman, the guy I had on the other night in his Batmobile. He's got a real Batmobile. Did you see? You probably didn't see that on our show, did you? No. Brampton Batman. He really is living the life of Batman, and you can go, folks. You can go find the whole episode on on our. It's still up. You can find it on our YouTube and Rumble channels. And yeah, he patrols his town in the Batmobile. He's even made citizens' arrests as Batman, turned like jewelry thieves over to the cops and stuff, and then he goes in parades and he poses for pictures with kids, and like, it's really serious. He is like, I mean, I'm not joking. He has another name, but that's now his secret identity, which he will not reveal. He is Batman. That is the identity that he has now assumed, and it's a real thing. Like, I'm not even joking. It's I'm dead. You think I'm joking, don't you?
No.
Okay.
But I agree with now the persona dragon and get him a dragon mobile.
Yeah.
He needs a dragon suit and be Dragon Man.
That's
instead.
right.
Right?
Yeah, and then he could get all masked up and go out there and do super reporter stuff. He'd be like, yeah.
What's that guy that was on AGT? He's out in Vegas now. I forget his name, but he also has Mr. Piff, The dog, remember, he used to dress in a dragon. No,
No,
yeah.
I don't
Oh,
remember.
I can't remember his name. Yeah, he didn't win AGT, but he got a Vegas con. Yeah, he's so and so and Mr. Pith or Pibbles. He dresses in a dragon suit and has this little dog.
Well, let's take a break and we'll come back and we'll get into the story that you've been covering for us, and that's the Hunter Biden trial. Stay with us, folks.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
All right, I'm back, and so is Joseph.
Yep.
All right. Well, Hunter Biden. What do we need to know about the Hunter Biden trial today? Facing what? 3 charges tied to the possession of a gun while using narcotics?
Yeah, really, most of the gun stuff, as usually happens with the left is always crying, "Oh, more gun laws, more gun laws. We need more gun laws," but they don't enforce the gun laws we have. 9 out of 10 criminals plea away the gun charge for lesser charges so that they aren't felons. So, because in most states, if you're a felon, you can't vote. Well, the Democrats want the criminals to continue to vote for Democrats, and they therefore continue to go soft on criminals. So it's the same thing. They're trying to just let state away the gun charge again, the serious felony. And more so, the issue is here, like, if people remember back to Bill Clinton, he was not impeached for having sex with an intern. He was impeached for committing perjury. And despite, like I saw Claire McCackle, as I call her, former senator from Missouri, trying to spin, as the left does, they're trying to, oh, look, there's equal justice. They're going after Hunter and Trump. Everybody knows the Trump case was a joke based on political targeting in one respect. And the Hunter thing, they've been stalling, delaying, and putting off so they can let him off the gun charge. But they want the appearance of going after him. And it's really about him lying on the form.
Okay, so, all right, that's another case. So let's focus on this case today. And I guess we've seen Hunter Biden's eldest daughter, Naomi. She took the stand in his defense. She was testifying about visiting him during his rehab sessions, borrowing his truck, and a late-night text that was sent to her by him, I guess, when he bought his gun. Is that right? And her father, Hunter, I guess he was emotional. He wiped away tears as she was testifying about being proud of him to get clean from his addiction.
Yeah.
What's your assessment?
Well, again, this is all a dog and pony show. To say, see, look, we're going after Hunter too. The Justice Department isn't what everybody knows it is, weaponized about going after one side. This is the Menendez trial about the gold bars. Are there two glowing examples of a farce like Hunter? There are several on the jury who are directly related to drug addicts, and I think two had addicts that died. So this whole case isn't about the case, which is fraud. He committed fraud. He was on drugs. He lied about being on drugs and got a gun. Illegal. He committed fraud. Open and shut case. Guilty. Move to sentencing. But no, it's all about victimhood. About having all the others about, he's really just a victim of his addiction, and you shouldn't prosecute him for this. And again, packing the jury with people who will be sympathetic to that story. If anybody thinks Hunter's going to be convicted for fraud, which there's no way beyond he committed, I don't know what to say. Again, it's
he's charged with possession of a gun while using narcotics. Those 3 charges.
Yeah, those are going to go away. Again, the left, as I wrote today earlier at beforeitsnews.com, the gun laws the left passed only apply when they benefit them, when they matter to them.
Yeah, we lost your audio there again. Something went on with your audio.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay, I think I bumped my mic. Yeah, 90% of the time, the left is always dismissing gun charges. And they're going to do the same here. The only real thing that is clear that might stick is the fraud charge. And again, the dog and pony show is, woe is he, have sympathy, have pity, he's just an addict, he doesn't really know what he's doing. Not that this is just a case of a ruling elitist son getting preferential treatment again.
Yeah, so the prosecutors rested their case this morning around 10:30 a.m. The jury had heard from the government's final 2 witnesses at that point, which included forensic chemist Jason Brewer and Drug Enforcement Administration supervisory agent Joshua Romig. Then, this afternoon around 1:45, the jury was unexpectedly dismissed for the day. The defense said it would no longer call the brother of the president, James Biden, as a witness, and it's unclear now if Hunter Biden will take the stand next week before we get into closing arguments.
Yeah, they don't need to. Again, knowing the jury composition, that's why it's all about, he's just a victim of addiction. Let him off the hook. That's their whole case, and mainly why they just wanted to rush through it. They saw they welled up emotion in the jurors they need to. So if it isn't not guilty, it's clearly going to be hung jury. There's no way this jury, I see, convicting them of what is clear. I mean, he lied on the form. He illegally possessed a gun, but none of that matters in upside down world today. It only matters about applying gun laws to the law abiding. The criminals and being an addict, buying crack distributing crack, as they admitted in court. He distributed to others and using crack. All illegal. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts. They admitted to the fact that he's a criminal who had a gun and lied to obtain it. I mean, they admitted the case. But again, oh, he's a victim.
Well, I'm glad you're here because I really have not had time to follow what's been going on with it very closely at all. That's something, that I think leads to my next question is this case has not really piqued my interest. I'm not sure that it's captivating the attention of the general public in the way that I think maybe people were expecting it would. Or am I misreading things? Am I just so tired of all the lawfare that I'm just, because I'm so immersed in news every day, that I'm desensitized to it? Is the public engaged with this?
No, I think you're right. Most are not, because they know, just like with the Trump thing, it was a farce the other way. It was all about Stormy and the sex thing. What did that have to do with a paperwork crime? Again, it was about impugning Trump's character to get a sympathetic jury to find a guilty verdict on a farce charge. Yeah. This is the same thing in reverse. Clear charges, clear admission in court of guilt, but tugging at heartstrings and about the woe is he's and addict have pity.
So
and you're right. People are tired of it.
Yeah. That being said, what impact do you think this will have on the Biden campaign?
None. I don't. It's not gonna help with anybody. It's not going to hurt with anybody. I think people, like you said, the lawfare, people who understand all of this is dog and pony lawfare for narrative purposes. Mm-hmm. The spin, again, the issue is not the issue. Only left spin to gain power and control. Those who are voting Democrat are going to continue to do so. Those who are tired of it are already planning on voting against it. They're tired of it.
It seems to me, Joseph, that the real story, the real crime or crimes that maybe should have been investigated revolve around that stolen, well, not that abandoned laptop, Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop at the computer repair store. That then, of course, all that data, all those emails, all that information about the big guy and all that stuff, that's what really should have been investigated. It seems to me that in a way, this case is being used as a form of deflection to tell the public, to create this veneer of accountability, saying, "Oh, look, we dragged him in and charged him with some stuff, and that the justice system is working, and here he is in court." See, well, and for most people who generally just read headlines and not the body of a story, they're hoping that it'll be like a bait and switch. Just charge him with this crime that we can easily dismiss, or give him make a little tiny, feather touch slap on the wrist. And while the real heavy duty stuff is completely ignored because we haven't seen anything from that laptop dealt with.
That's another reason why the case, let's hurry it along. Hurry, rush. Don't let that, you mean the Biden laptop that wasn't real? That was a conspiracy theory? Purely a myth? A right-wing conspiracy talking point? Putin collusion delusion again? It's in admittance of evidence in this trial. And you're right. You got to hurry and move along. Don't let anything else about the laptop that this case admits now is real. It's there in evidence.
And this just shows how the public so quickly forgets about things, because when that laptop first came to light, when we first found out about it, the timing was such that it was going to be like a nuclear bomb that had gone off at just the right moment in the election to turn the tide and hand the election to Trump. And polling studies showed after the fact that had that information not been suppressed on social media by the social media giants like Google and Facebook and Twitter at the time, if they hadn't suppressed that information, the studies showed that public opinion would have shifted enough to give the victory to Trump. It made the difference in determining who actually ended up in the White House. But here we are, 4 years later, essentially, and the public, it's the same information, hasn't ever really been dealt with, still should be a nuclear bomb that goes off. The issues haven't changed, the information hasn't changed, and yet it's pretty clear at this point that it is not going to be a major factor in determining the outcome of this election because they've suppressed the information so long that it's just lost its luster and its appeal. The public is not paying any attention to it. Even if they started to bring that information out now, unless there was something really revelatory in it, I don't think that it's just not going to capture the attention of the public because it's just the Hunter Biden laptop that was from 4 years ago. It's just going to be dismissed. And that's what this court case, in my assessment, is. This is like, let's get them charged now. We'll put them through court. We'll confuse the heck out of the public. They'll think that we're dealing with that when it's really nothing at all. And then we just push that out of the way months before, because how many months now? Election's in November, so we deal with it, late spring, early summer, and then just brush it to the side. And now it's clear sailing for Biden for the rest of the election cycle, so he can just kind of shuffle through and try to figure out which direction to go in and whether to exit stage left or stage right. And
complete dog and pony show. And I call it the twatter attention span, right? The laptop was well known for many years, but by both the left and the right. And indeed, the right held it, the term October surprise.
Right.
They wanted to hold it to be the October surprise bombshell. And surveys show that many people would have changed their vote if they knew it was real. But again, due to the twatter attention span, despite this case proving everything on the laptop and that was said about it is real, it's right. Oh, that was so 4 years ago, even though it very much relates.
You have a way with words. Where do you come up with these phrases?
Yeah.
Is that a triple X reference? And I don't even want to say it. I
know. No, it's not meant to be obviously a sexual thing, but
okay.
It's the only derogative I could get out of Twitter would be twatter.
Well,
there are a bunch of P words over there. Yeah.
Well, it seems appropriate given that I guess Elon Musk just came out with a new policy on pornographic material, adult material. So timing is perfect.
It literally is twatter world over there.
It is.
Now.
It's the June surprise from Elon Musk, and you gave him a new name for his platform. It used to be Twitter, then it was X, and now it's
twatter. Yeah.
Where do you come up with this stuff?
Oh, I've been using that for a long time.
Okay.
Because again, it's about twisting and warping language. We've discussed it. You were on my Constitutionalist Politics show about gray areas. Things aren't always black and white. You've got to talk details. But on twatter,
I don't want the details on that.
No,
on this program.
It's all about drive-by, pot shot, sound bites, and headlines, which are often misleading.
Do you think it's appropriate to have pornographic material on an open platform like
Well,
X, X.
yeah, boy, have we really got. Yeah, now you got it. It's not X anymore. It's XXX.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's X. Is that appropriate? See, they already had that kind of material on there. I didn't even know until a couple of months ago. I found out, and I was like, on Twitter, they have
Yeah.
porn,
Well,
and there it is, and like, holy, I can't believe that. Oh, we lost you. You froze up. Come on back, Joseph. Where's your internet? Oh, it's the CIA and the FBI working together with the FSB and the IRS and Facebook and Google, because they're all sympathetic to Elon Musk's new XXX platform known as Twa. And I'm not saying the rest. My God. Okay, let's take a break while Joseph reestablishes his internet connection. We'll be right back. Don't go away. But be prepared to exile the Knights of Malta.
Exile. The Knights of Malta. Maverick News. Join us. The world is watching.
Yeah, see, yeah, they didn't like what you were saying about
No.
Elon Musk and his XXX porno site. Now it should be XXX. XXX. Elon Musk's XXX.
I'm having trouble for some reason. Chrome keeps wanting to freeze, and of course, StreamYard complains if you don't use Chrome. So, but yeah, this all started with Gab, that social media site, a few years ago, and the hashtag NSFW, not safe for work. Gab said, "We are indeed completely free speech," and they sided with the court ruling about the Hustler guy. What was Hustler?
Larry Flint. Larry Flint. Yeah.
The case versus
Yeah.
Larry Flint, where he
Yeah.
argued it. Visual was still speech, and it was still a matter of freedom of association, which
Yeah, there was-
kind of agreement.
What was the movie with? There was a movie made with what's his name, Woody Harrelson,
Yes,
about that. I can't remember the name of it. The People versus Larry Flint.
yes, but
Yeah.
as long as there are safeguards, like Gab said, you must use and flag NSFW, not safe for work, and also not safe for children. As long as there are safeguards to make sure only adults have access to that content, I don't
Well-
have a problem with it. The problem is the wild, wild west of the internet. There aren't any real controls about children claiming to be adults and getting access to porn anywhere and everywhere they want. And the left wants our kids, as I call it, the new core R's: raunch, perversion, radicalism, and racism through CRT, rather than reading, writing, arithmetic. Bread and circus, right? You know the term. Keep them distracted on all these other things. Don't let them focus on
Yeah.
the bleep their leaders are
Well,
doing.
It's I think we're in a dangerous time, because this in itself is another experiment on humanity, and they're experimenting on our young people. And when I say experimenting, I mean they're giving access to unlimited amounts of adult material that kids will be able to access, whether no matter how they claim that there are safeguards in place. It'll be accessible, so any kid that wants to find it will be exposed to it. And I don't know, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, when these kids grow up and they've been exposed to all of this, I kind of wonder how that's going to impact human relationships, issues like marriage, male-female interactions. We're seeing real changes in the social structure that we have today, because the technology is putting explicit images in front of people at levels, in volumes that we've never seen in history before. So that, before the internet, before television, before the electronic age, human beings, if you were a man, you probably rarely, if ever, see a naked woman, except maybe your wife, or, I don't know, if you went to a brothel or whatever, right? But you wouldn't be just walking into a variety store, because, when you rode into town on your horse and, walked into the general store, they didn't have, Penthouse and, I don't know, what are the magazines they have out there? Playboy, I guess, is still around, right? I don't know. Hustler, I think, is still out there on the newsstands. So,
Kurt Cameron has a good movie called Fireproof. Came out, probably a decade plus ago, about porn addiction and the issues. There are studies. Mild interaction and interface with porn might be okay, but often it turns into a porn addiction, and that is dangerous, because humans then fail.
Yeah, losing your audio again.
Okay, now shaking stuff.
There you go. You're back now. I don't know why it does that.
All my hand gestures sometimes cause the headset mic to go out. I gotta tone down my Italian. But yeah, no, porn addiction or too much porn gives men an unrealistic expectation of women. Access to all these fetishes that aren't normal and the average thing. And it can hurt their reaction in social situations with women, because they have these unrealistic, idiotic expectations that, hey, a woman talked to me, she wants to go to bed with me. No, that's not the real world.
Well, that's exactly it. It's like people's social skills have changed. Well, even the development of birth control pill, right? It has changed the relationship between men and women, because it led to the sexual revolution. Women became much more free with their sexuality and able to express themselves that way, or engage in sexual activity in ways that they had never been able to before. It's changed the nature of relationships in ways that humanity has never had to deal with before. And look at our society today. It's very fragmented. You have, extremely high divorce rates, lower marriage rates, lower birth rate as a result. And you would think that more sexual activity would result in more pregnancies, but in fact, we're getting the opposite result. Strange times indeed. Upside down world, as you said, right? And your audio is gone again.
Sexual gratification. Yeah, sexual gratification without the consequence. And even though with the sexual revolution and indeed more freer, the supposed free love thing, right? It still is nowhere close to the ridiculous over-fictionalized portrayal in porn world.
Now get this. This is another story, and this is still in the on the legal beat, the court beat. So it's good that you're here tonight, because this is breaking news. Judge Juan Merchan just notified all of the parties involved in President Trump's recent New York City trial, I guess, that the court became aware today of a Facebook comment. And this was posted on the Facebook page of the Unified Court System. And it said, "My cousin is a juror and says Trump is getting convicted, and thank you folks for all your hard work." And so this comment was made on May 29th, 2024, days before President Trump's guilty verdict was announced. Now, what does this mean? Well, it could potentially result in a mistrial. So let me show you what has been released and posted out there. I've got the letter from the judge up on the screen. Here we go. Bingo. And it says, today the court became aware of a comment that was posted on the Unified Court System's public Facebook page, and which I now bring to your attention. In the comment, the user Michael Anderson states, "My cousin is a juror and says Trump is getting convicted. Thank you folks for all your hard work." The comment, now labeled as 1 week old, responded to a routine UCS notice posted on May 29th, 2024, regarding oral arguments in the 4th Department of the Appellate Division unrelated to this proceeding. The posting, entitled "The Appellate Division 4th Department will hear oral arguments this morning at 10. And the comments are both viewable at Facebook, blah, blah, blah. So let me just get you the latest on this. Hang on here. So that's today. So did they deal with this today, Joseph? Do you know, or what are you dealing with here?
I'm still waiting for information on it like everybody else. But yeah, everybody knows the Trump case was a farce. It was a fait accompli. Again, I don't want to use the word liberal. Leftist controlled New York. An ultra-leftist DA who ran on, "I'm going to get Trump in one way, shape, or form," brought a case that the federal government passed on. But they drummed it up. They changed New York law, which this is an appeal item also, to change the statute of limitations. You can't change a law or enact a law and apply it ex post facto. That's a violation of constitutional rights. But to this, a leftist activist judge with a leftist activist jury, which this proves, because there are others who came out and said they fear for their and their families' lives if they would not have voted guilty, because the left, everybody knows, will get violent. So
well, this is turning into a mess, and a lot of Trump supporters echoing your comments tonight, from Marjorie Taylor Greene to Laura Loomer to Monica Crowley, the assistant press secretary for the Department of the Treasury Department, who served under the Trump administration, who posted tonight on social media, "Enough with this bull case. Mistrial, no retrial. Toss the conviction." Marjorie Taylor Greene posting on X saying, quote, "The fix was in from the beginning. And if true, this is even further proof President Trump never had a chance of being innocent." She added, "It was a sham trial from the beginning, and the guilty verdict came down from the deep state and the big guy," that would be who sits in the White House.
Who claims this was just a state case. It has nothing to do with the Biden administration. Well, why were there Biden officials in the courtroom if it wasn't being directed from there to begin with? But yes, again, there were two lawyers who know the law and know the constitutional breaches, why this will be tossed eventually, but they don't care. They just want to be able to delay it to after the election and say, "Trump, convicted felon, convicted felon, again, parrot, false narrative, talking points. It's all a farce. The two lawyers were threatened. You will vote guilty or there will be consequences.
Well, we're seeing that, on the other side, those who are not Trump supporters are saying that, a comment like this is not enough for a mistrial. They're describing it something as something sort of like a stray comment on social media.
And as well as everything, again, you can't ex post facto apply a law. Not only appealable, absolutely mistrial and tossed. And do I expect a New York federal appellate court, another leftist activist, to uphold the law and the Constitution? Of course not. It has to and will be tossed by SCOTUS eventually. And here's the other thing. Again, they want to drag it out till after the election. It doesn't matter win, lose, or draw. This case has to go to the Supreme Court because these precedent issues must be dealt with. Like above, right? Principles, not personalities. This is not only about Trump. This is about the law, the Constitution, and legal precedent. The case must go to SCOTUS, and it should be heard tomorrow, not next year.
Mm-hmm. So, where do you think that leaves Trump? Do you think he's going to suffer from this, or do you think it's benefiting him?
Well, again, neither the Biden or the Trump case. Well, I'm going to change my tact. I was going to say neither will matter. But actually, given man on the street interviews, the Trump case, clear lawfare, clear railroading, and the Hunter case, everybody knows it's just a dog and pony for show and nothing real is going to happen. Or if they decide, let's convict him, it'll probably be a suspended sentence or he'll be pardoned. Heck, if Trump's elected, Trump might even not pardon, but commute the sentence of Hunter. It's all baked in the cake. And indeed, man on the street interviews are showing people are awakening from the woke stupor and red pilling. The lawfare is helping Trump. This dog and pony with Hunter, things are really fair. I don't see, other than already a leftist who's already going to vote for Biden if he's breathing or not come November 5th. It isn't going to matter with them. But others, those liberals, actual liberals, not leftists, some of them are saying, oh, no, this is banana republic stuff. No, we can't have this. And some of them literally, who was it the other day? A celebrity, I wish I could remember which one it was, says, I don't like Trump. No, doesn't like Trump at all. Would have not voted for Trump, but due to this stuff, he's voting Trump. I wish I could remember who it was, just said it the other day. So yes, it's shifted a little and helping Trump.
Okay, let's take another break. When we come back, we're going to go to another court case. This one, Joseph, you've probably not heard of yet, so I'm going to take you a little bit by surprise on this one. But this involves a YouTube streamer who went up in a helicopter and started firing fireworks at a Lamborghini. This guy could go to jail for up to 10 years. Let's take. Oh, Joseph's excited about it.
Can't wait to talk about that. Yeah, I know. I love this one.
Hang on. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, let's. You know about this story already. This is a streamer. His name is Alex Choi, and he's in a bit of hot water because he went out to shoot a video. He gets millions of views online, by the way. Excuse me, but let's take a look at. I'm turning the audio down here, but we're going to look at the video.
It's a great video.
It is a great video, but boy, is he in hot water over this, man. He had two young ladies in a helicopter, and he had a Lamborghini on the ground, and from an elevated position, they lit up the sky and the ground and the Lamborghini, as you can see here. And pretty cool looking video. Oh, she looks like a mean one, doesn't she? Oh.
Those are my kind of gals.
See, if I could afford to destroy a Lamborghini, then I could get millions of views on social media as well. Right?
If only, right?
Well, that's what the other half does. But I guess if you get enough views on YouTube, you can afford to buy a new Lamborghini. So he's been charged in relation to this for safety issues primarily, and that's because he didn't have a permit to. That's what they're going after him with, and as a result, I guess, Joseph, he could spend like 10 years, up to 10 years in jail. What's your assessment?
Well, again, I love the video. I think it's great. It's a great video, but he clearly needed the permits. He needed a pyrotechnics person on set. He needed the fire department and all the safety precautions on this set. You know, if he would have conducted it like a proper movie set, had the permits and all that, he wouldn't be in trouble. But yeah. I think he knows he wouldn't have got the permits to do it.
Yeah, so he's 24 years old. He has more than 900,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. He was arrested yesterday, Wednesday, charged with causing the placement of an explosive or incendiary device on an aircraft, according to the Department of Justice.
Which has terrorism implications. That's why that obviously exists.
Yeah, doesn't look like much like terrorism to me, but certainly possibly a safety issue. Do you think they're going to give him the full 10 years?
I doubt it. I think it'll come down to, I hope, probation and community service and that. But my point about the terrorism thing is such a law is put in because indeed someone could do something like this and terrorize a public event. So I can see the law being there, but charging this guy on what would be more or less a terrorism intent, anti-terrorism, I should say, intent statute, yeah. I think is going far. So they've got to do something with them. But
so, yeah, and he's getting a lot of publicity out of this. This is going to help build his YouTube channel, even though they've arrested him. And this is an example of the kind of video that he produces. I think he's using a Lamborghini here to tow 10,000 pounds.
What the fuck, dude? Anything happen, you're responsible. Behind me is my street legal Huracan Super Trofeo Evo build, along with a twin turbo kit that makes 1,250 wheel horsepower at all four wheels. And what good does all that horsepower do if you can't legally use it on the road? So then I thought of the brilliant idea to tow with it. I put a tow hitch on it, and this thing is pretty beefy. It's a class 4 trailer hitch, meaning it can handle up to 15,000 pounds. Now, I don't know if the chassis of this car can, but at least the trailer hitch can. So this receiver is bolted onto the rebar, which is behind this carbon piece, and bolted to that part of the subframe. This part of the subframe, and there's 2 bars that go up and mounts onto the same part where my chassis mounted wing bolts onto. In other words, it's not going anywhere. And if it does go somewhere, it's probably going to take the whole back end of the car with it. It also has your typical trailer 7-pin plug. So the first thing I want to do is mount that dirt bike using that dirt bike mount. Look at this! Why is this making me so happy? Okay, I think this will work. Okay, listen real quick. Stuff like this would not have been possible without my sponsor. So, we're gonna talk about today.
Okay, well, we won't give him a free plug on our show. If we had a sponsor, we might actually be able to pay the bills. But that's another story.
But this is exactly the kind of case that politicians of all stripes, let's say, want, right? So they will likely indeed try to make a big deal, but ultimately go easy. I mentioned before, bread and circus, right? Looky at that fun, weird, obnoxious stuff. Don't pay attention to what the fascists are doing to you.
Well, it's been entertaining anyway to watch his videos. I'm sorry there, Mr. Choi, that you've been arrested and you're in so much trouble because you've entertained people, but you gotta follow them rules.
I have no doubt there's probably a GoFundMe or legal defense fund of some kind already up and running on his and other channels to raise him the legal funds to blow past this.
Isn't that it? I'm looking it up. Yeah, it would not surprise me one bit. I'm not seeing
Chow Legal Defense Fund or whatever, or bail the Lamborghini guy out of jail fund, or
He's been involved in other stuff I'm seeing here now too. Alex Choi defamation lawsuits, and there was a GoFundMe set up for that. I don't know the particulars of it. I'm just seeing it online. But this guy gets around.
Well, he knows.
And here's another one.
How to make
new
a living.
Subaru fund. A new Subaru fund. A jumping Tesla wrecked mine. I don't think that's somebody else. Funny.
But this guy clearly knows, being a YouTube celebrity, and this goes back to the Jackass movies, right? Do Jackass stuff. People will support you. They love either laughing with you or at you. And people are willing to give up money. And he knows the more outrageous stuff he does, the more likely he is to enrich his bank account.
So here's another story involving some legal stuff. Trump, I guess, has made a statement in an interview. I think he was on Fox, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, at Fox News interview today, he said that it's, quote, hard to believe they have some states passing legislation where you can execute the baby after birth. It's crazy. That's Trump's words today. And then we're seeing mainstream media lose its mind over him saying this, saying that is a false statement. I will show you the CNN response to this today. And they are saying that it's a false claim, that in no state have they introduced legislation where it is permitted to execute the baby after birth, that indeed that would be infanticide and a crime. Here it is here. Facts first. Trump's claim is false. No state has passed or is passing a law that allows the execution of a baby after it is born. Killing a person after birth is illegal in every state. Every state explicitly criminalizes infanticide. That, according to Mary Ziegler, a professor at the University of California, Davis School of Law, said today, there is no basis for this claim. Kimberly Mutcherson, a professor at Rutgers Law School, said Thursday. Strangely written. Give me your thoughts.
Notice the careful crafting of the language. They are happy Trump used the word execute. They did what? Focus on the word execute. Yeah, New York, California, and even Michigan have not passed a law that allows you to execute a child after birth, but they have legalized what Gosnell is in prison in Pennsylvania for. Allowing the child to be born and put on a table, and illegal, well, not illegal, but I mean the Hippocratic oath, they don't do no harm, or you must render aid. No, you no longer have to render aid. You can take that baby, put it on the table, wait 3 days if it takes that long for it to die. That's not executing, quote unquote, but it is what Trump is talking about, and he is correct, although way overusing hyperbolic language.
Well, that's a hot button issue, very controversial. It's gonna get it's blowing up heads tonight, no doubt about that. Netanyahu, Joseph, he's
that's
sorry, go ahead.
That's that key word. If he would have not used the word execute, if he'd have just stuck with the facts as I laid them out, that indeed a baby can be born, and now you no longer have to render care to this child, clearly born, clearly living, clearly not a dolphin or a fish or a monkey in the womb that somehow becomes a baby when it comes out. It's a living human being that you are denying care to for the express intention of letting it die. That's the truth. Those are the facts. And he gave them an out with the hyperbolic execute term.
So, what else do we have going on here? We have Netanyahu coming to America. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, he's going to address U.S. lawmakers July 24th in Washington, D.C. He's going to speak to both chambers of Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives. All of this will happen, I think. I think the war in Gaza will be still ongoing at that point. And I'm hearing that a huge protest is planned. Do you think that's going to happen?
Oh, no doubt. I have no doubt that, again, the AstroTurf, Soros, Stiers, Buffett, Gates, all those Zuckerberg monies will pay people to show up to protest. But what we're not hearing is the Hezbollah, IDF border on Lebanon and Syria heating up, and whether that becomes a full-fledged war on the northern front.
Because we've seen that whole northern area on fire, and that is, that's the next front to open up in this conflict.
Can Israel wrap up the southern front before the northern front becomes full-fledged all-out war? Because we all know fighting a two-front war is problematic.
Well, oh boy. It's not good. Here's, and I'm going to save this for last, actually, tonight. This Elon Musk post. Remind me before we sign off to show people this weird thing that's going on with Elon Musk. Okay, the Economics Summit in St. Petersburg, that's ongoing. We're talking about, the rise of the BRICS nations, essentially, and all of Russia's allies and China's over there in St. Petersburg. at this economic summit. And so today, Vladimir Putin addressing the summit, he says that the U.S. dollar is going to be replaced with the BRICS countries working on their own payment system, free from political pressure, abuse, and external interference. He says BRICS has grown and has great potential for the addition of new participants. And indeed, we are seeing, some other countries expressing interest in joining the BRICS nations, which is Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, China. I didn't get that in the right order. I can't spell when I when I do all the countries. But here's Putin at the economic summit.
Including within BRICS, we're working on shaping an independent payment system free from political pressure, abuse, and external sanctional interference. In this regard, I'd like to remind you that this year, BRICS was joined by new participants, that is, Saudi Arabia, Iran, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Ethiopia. With this, the share of our association in global GDP has reached 36%, and the population of the planet has reached 45%. And BRICS has tremendous potential for joining of new participants, and such drive of stakeholders from different continents can only be welcomed by us and will support it. Including within BRICS, we're working on shaping an independent payment system free from political pressure, abuse, and external sanctional interference. In this regard, I'd like to remind you that this year, BRICS was joined by new participants, that is, Saudi Arabia, Iran, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Ethiopia. With this, the share of our association in global GDP has reached 36%, and the population of the planet has reached 45%. And BRICS has tremendous potential for joining of new participants, and such drive of stakeholders from different continents can only be welcomed by us and will support it. Including within BRICS, we're working on shaping an independent payment system free.
So this is a serious affront to the Western world. This, I said last night, all I see here is our leaders acting as though it's business as usual. They're just playing around with interest rates a little bit to keep on printing money. It's like, oh no, no worries. But I see extreme contraction in the economy. They'll need to pull back. They're going to need to reduce the supply of money in the face of this competition in order to maintain the value of U.S. currency. This is going to be extremely disruptive. I'm not sure, we've never had to deal with anything like this before. I don't even think in the history of mankind with like a direct assault on a dominant world economic system like this. So in order to make it continue to work, this because the US dollar has been the world reserve currency for so long, if it's under attack like this and you say cut off 50% of the demand for the US dollar, the money supply increases essentially at basically 100%, and because people are like going to be liquidating it's going to cause a run on the dollar, which is the same as a run on the bank. It could collapse the entire system unless they find a way to pull in all of that excess currency, and even then you're now extracting maybe 50%, if it's say half the world, 50% of the actual value in terms of like the value of the world economy. You're removing that from the Western economic system. Everything changes as a result of this. Our leaders better get it together and start doing something, in my view, or we are in deep crap.
Three things. First, though, yeah, if we continue to do nothing and act like an ostrich and bury our heads in the sand, we are going to see Weimar Republic, a collapse of the West. And three things. India and Saudi Arabia are the surprising ones here. And it wouldn't be happening if not for the weakness of Biden. If Trump were president, it wouldn't be happening. The second thing, political pressure. Notice how many times he used that buzz phrase, because it's all about political pressure and trying to collapse the Western societal basis backed by the US dollar. And the American left doesn't care because they want the de-emphasis and collapse of Western power on the planet. And the last thing is Congress, the U.S. House, again, knowing Senate won't do anything with it. And if they did, Biden wouldn't sign it because, again, they want the dollar to collapse. They want it to collapse. They want
who wants the dollar to collapse? Biden?
American left in general. It's all again about being anti-Western and bringing down the West. And that, what would do that more than that? But the House Republicans must, I've been saying this ever since BRICS started, must craft a bill that will go nowhere in the Senate or be signed by Biden, but must pass a bill signaling that at least Republicans recognize we must do something to start to put in place a return to gold or metals or whatever standards, so the money is based on something other than the fiat currency or just oil-based petrodollars.
Well, if Saudi Arabia becomes part of BRICS, then the dollar is done as the petrodollar. They'll need to attach the value of the American dollar to something else. What are they going to do? What are they going to attach it to? I can't say for sure. My guess is they would attach it to essentially nothing, except to say that they would attach it to the labor or the overall value of the American economy. But I'm not sure that that's going to instill confidence worldwide in the way that attaching it to oil has. So we're in for a rough ride.
It will take several decades to move the U.S. dollar back to a precious metals or whatever standard. But the House must pass a law that says we are going to do that in the next decade or two to signal that we are going to do that, or BRICS buries us.
Well, on the BRICS side, they have this advantage because it's an emerging system, so they have control over their money supply. As much as people may view this as being an anti-capitalist economic system, it is not. They're going to issue their own currency. It's a capitalist system too. It's all based on capitalism. They need capital in order to make it work. It's really not, in my view, much different. I mean, their policies and the way that they trade and interact may be somewhat different. The approach may be different. We'll see over the long run. But this is, they have an advantage because they can control from the beginning now how much money is out in the system, and therefore control the value, the interest rates, and manage their economy, because it is smaller, and the money isn't already out there. With the U.S. dollar, the money supply is already out all over the world. You cut demand for that. Now the world is awash in U.S. dollars. So in my view, they'll need to call in all those dollars in some way and then replace them with some sort of new dollar, or do something so that they can control how much money is actually out there. And the only way that I think they can do that, in my short-term analysis, is they have to issue a currency that replaces. They got to buy back the old dollar, the current dollar, replace it with something new, and buy that back, so that all that money comes back in, and then say that they'll only honor the new dollars, so everybody has to run and get the new one to create the right amount of demand based on the new supply of the new dollar, and then honor the value of the old stuff coming in over a period of time, so that it can recirculate back into the U.S. and they can destroy those dollars to then restore the value of the currency.
Well, whatever. Something has to be legislatively done to start that process, whatever it's going to be, or again, bricks will bury us. And this all started to, again, Putin's avoid political. No, it's all about political pressure. This started as Russia, China, and their satellite ally nations coming in to counter the euro. But now, again, due to feckless Bidenomics weakness, it's gone way beyond their wildest dreams of what they could accomplish to something far greater than that, and an even bigger threat to the dollar.
And the constant weaponization of the dollar around the world, using it as a weapon, that undermines trust and confidence in the dollar as well. It works when you're the only game in town, essentially, where people are being forced to buy petroleum with the U.S. dollar to prop up the value. You don't have a choice, so you can be the economic bully, if you will, in order to kind of get what you want. Say, if you don't do this, then we're going to impose sanctions on you. But this will take the sanctions tool away from the U.S. in large part, and again, diminish U.S. influence around the world. This is the new geopolitical reality that we're faced with.
And if you take away the economic power, the economic threats, then what's left? Violence, military, war. That's the only other option.
That's the real risk here too, that's underlying everything we're seeing in Ukraine, in Gaza, around the world, over with China and the Taiwan tensions, right?
Philippines.
And the Philippines. Yep.
She is threatening the Philippines.
Yeah.
Not just Taiwan now, the Philippines. That MacArthur guaranteed their sovereignty forever. And we fought in World War II to recover. We are their protectorate.
3 days ago, Zelensky was in the Philippines, shoring up support, or trying to solicit support from the Philippines. Looks like they have established a relationship there. Not clear yet if they're going to attend the peace summit coming up, but I'm not sure. The peace summit that Russia is not involved in, but over 100 countries, I think 107 countries now, will be attending. And I see that as an attempt by Zelensky and Ukraine to create a foundation of support so that they can then take that back and negotiate from a position of power, where they're not just Ukraine, but they're all the Western countries and all the countries they can muster together to say, we support Ukraine, and in this new peace initiative, hey, Russia, come to the table and negotiate what we're proposing here. I think that's what we're going to see, ultimately.
Well, again, two things. The whole Philippines thing and Zelensky, and again, trying to make this as completely an East-West thing. But I haven't always agreed with Trump. I am anti-tax, which means I am also anti-import-export tax, because the American people ultimately land up eating those costs. But I was willing to let my principle be laxed and do the import tax on China and Mexico, or at least the big threat of it. Because again, if What else are you going to do? That's your tool. If you signal you refuse to use that tool, what's the only other alternative? Go to war against China? And again, the threat was against Taiwan, that some in our nation say, oh, let them have it. The Philippines, Xi and China are so emboldened by this Biden weakness, they're now openly threatening the Philippines. God almighty, people, you gotta get these people out of office, or the world will indeed be in flames all over the place.
So, conspiracy theorist Alex Jones is how he's characterized by the mainstream media tonight, seeking, according to these new mainstream media reports, he's seeking court permission to convert his bankruptcy, his personal bankruptcy reorganization, into a liquidation. And that could lead to a sell-off of, his assets. He owes a 1.5 billion, over $1 billion anyway, to relatives of the victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. We've seen this past week Alex Jones in an emotional breakdown, which seemed like really, really bad acting, crying, saying that the feds were coming to shut him down. Last I heard that he was predicting that the feds are now going to show up on the 14th to shut him down. So this is the new thing that's circulating the information about him now.
Now, Alex Jones, let me be upfront, is indeed right on a bunch of things. But the feds really don't want to shut him down because he is, in a way, controlled opposition. With all the other wild stuff he talks about, he then lets the left, especially call the Hunter Biden laptop conspiracy when it's not. And they point to Alex Jones over-the-top idiocy nonsense that people spew rather than dealing in conspiracy fact items that allow them to get away with calling the Hunter Biden laptop right-wing conspiracy. They really don't want to shut him down. They need that stuff out there.
So I think he's pretty much lost control of the company. I don't even think he owns it now at this point. In any case, it's pretty much done. What he was doing this past week was getting people to donate. It was a big fundraising campaign, from what I could tell, and I think they raised close to $500,000 because of his tears. But the people who are donating, I don't know what they're thinking, because he's bankrupt. So he's got to be taking that money. Where's that money going that was donated? What's he doing with that? Is he hiding it someplace?
Swiss bank account, I would imagine.
I'm wondering, right? He's got to have a plan, but
he will
not
land.
that I'm making any accusations.
Right.
I'm asking questions.
It's a potential that it could be happening. We're not saying it is happening that way, right? But again, at the end of the day, I think they'll throw him a lifeline and pretty much let him off the hook. Because,
do you think
again,
so?
They need him.
Who, that?
They need all the conspiracy stuff constantly going about. Again,
who's they? Who are you talking about?
Well, the deep state, rhinos, CINOs, fascocrats. I'm not letting Republicans off the hook here by any means.
Oh, man.
The deep state, right?
Okay.
Because again, the Republicans, rhino establishment, deep staters will have something in their closet they'll want labeled conspiracy theory.
I think you're a conspiracy theorist.
Well, it is a theory about conspiracies.
Yeah, you got a conspiracy theory about the conspiracy theorists. Oh my! This, it isn't a conspiracy. This is very, very real. Frank Stronach, Canadian businessman. He's in his 90s now. I've met him. I've done stories on him. I've interviewed him long time ago. Owner. He was with Magna Corporation. His daughter, politician, conservative. He has been charged in connection with alleged sexual assaults spanning more than 4 decades. He was arrested by Peel Regional Police. Few details have been revealed about this at this point. He's 91 years old right now, from Aurora, Ontario, is where he lives now. And he's been charged with rape, indecent assault on a female, forcible confinement, and 2 counts of sexual assault. He was the founder of Magna International, an auto parts company, international supplier to many of the major auto companies. Very wealthy family, made lots and lots and lots of money in the auto business, and this is I think going to shock a lot of people. So there's that, and also if you're planning a trip over the border, things will be smooth sailing between Canada and the United States for the next few days, because a strike for Canadian border workers has been put on hold at least until Wednesday. The union that represents the Canada Border Service Agency, representing 9,000 CBS workers, has indicated that the delay is going to happen. They were supposed to go on strike rather as early as 4 p.m. today, but that did not happen. And what we're dealing with now is, concern about what's going to happen this week.
This will be too TMI for the audience, but I've been drinking too much water. Can we take a break? I got a potty.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we're gonna wrap up here in a minute anyway. But you go ahead and take your break, Joseph. We'll come back. I've got a couple more things for people, including this strange thing from Elon Musk. So don't go away. I'll be right back with Joseph.
Maverick News. The world is watching. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So, Joseph, last night you and I were part of a group meeting for contributors to Maverick News, and I think it was pretty productive. We are looking ahead to the future and making some changes in our policies, our procedures, our approach, and just a lot of different things. Of course, monetization is something we didn't really speak about a lot last night, but that's because we don't have any money. Now, that being
Well,
said,
hey,
you
hey, it's
yeah.
real easy to share $0.
So we are trying to pay the bills. You saw how you can donate. I'll bring this up, and this is actually going somewhere because there's a story related to this that you're not aware of, I don't think, being down there in the U.S. of A. But you're going to be aware in a minute. You can donate to support this channel if you like what we do at maverickdonations.com. And you can also support us and help pay the bills, which is a more common place for people to go at freedomreporters.com. Now, we have t-shirts, $30 donation or more. I can send you a t-shirt. Happy to do that. If you donate $60 or more, I can send you an embroidered button-up shirt. These are polo shirts. I have to get we're going to get some of these because it's now summer. I can send you this. We also have the Exile, the Knights of Malta shirts too. Anyway, if you want a shirt and you donate, just tell me what size you want in the comment when you make the donation, what size you want, and give me your address, and I'll send the shirt along happily to do that. Really appreciate it. If you get the embroidered shirt, we still have, where'd you go? Here they are. We still have some of these Batmobiles as a bonus, 1/64th scale Hot Wheels die-cast collectible Batmobiles. I'll send you that as a complimentary bonus.
No. Those are Dragon Mobiles.
Oh yeah, right. Dragon Mobiles. That's right. So I think they're cool, and so that's why we're doing it. Everybody loves Batmobiles. I used to own a couple of hobby shops over the years, and I'll tell you, there are two kind of model kits and die-cast car that I was never worried about getting stuck with in inventory. They always sold. You know what they were? The Batmobile and the Dukes of Hazzard General Lee. Always sold. People always wanted those. Didn't matter. I could order 1 million of those things and they'd always sell. In fact, I was walking through a Walmart store today, and you know what I saw in the video section? Dukes of Hazzard box set. I'm like, wow. I'm surprised they haven't banned it because they're not running it on television and stuff anymore because of the political correctness, right? Anyway, you can donate at freedomreporters.com. Really appreciate the support. Please like, share, subscribe. Subscribe to us over on Rumble. Really appreciate that. We do need your support. We got to pay the bills around here. Costs more to run this than you probably realize. But yeah.
Oh, let me speak again. My Constitutionalist Politics show is very low key. I say that in my intro. No muss, no fuss, low key, low budget. You, me, and an occasional guest. And thank you, Rick, for the time you were guest on my Gray Area show. Even doing a next to no budget thing through Buzzsprout still costs money. To do high quality, high production like Rick does isn't cheap, people. Please, by all means, help him out. And I'm glad to see you're using Give, Send, Go, not GoFundMe.
Yeah. Now, where this is leading is today we are seeing that Google has entered into an agreement to pay out funds to Canadian media through the government's new online streaming act, where they're being compelled to pay out funds to mainly media outlets. But the interesting thing, I was reading the details about this as they came to light today. And what they're going to do is, it's kind of interesting. Google has agreed to distribute $100 million to Canadian news companies. Now, this isn't government money. This is money from Google that will be redistributed. But what the government has done is they've created, not surprisingly here in Canada, sort of a collective, they're calling it. And they have a steering committee made up of 12 independent media outlets that represent French language, community and indigenous news, and publications that represent Black and minority Canadian communities. And this steering committee will ultimately decide who gets the cash.
Bingo!
Yeah.
There's the rub. This is more censorship in a sense. You might think, oh, great. It costs, we just talked, it costs money to do these things. But you can bet your ass Maverick News isn't going to see a penny of that money. They will pick and choose leftist biased organizations. It's more Google leftist bias.
Well, you're seeing the DEI, you're seeing the political correctness, you're seeing the preference being given, the money being given to organizations, news organizations that toe the government line, the cultural engineering, right? The cultural Marxism. If you do stories that are politically correct, woke, progressive, and you're all dialed into that, that's your focus, you're likely going to get a grant. If you're on the conservative side, if you're, free markets, if you're like us, highly unlikely that you're going to get the cash. Now, that being said, I know my way around the Canadian broadcasting and media business, and we're going to talk more about this because I have a plan. So we'll see where this goes.
This is clearly, again, as I said, leftist media prop up. It's all about peddling more government line, towing the leftist biased line, and censoring out any way, shape, or form they can opposing viewpoint.
Now, they are capping the amount of money that the legacy media outlets like CBC, CTV, Global, the big media outlets here in Canada can receive from this $100 million fund. So they are trying to push some of this money to smaller media organizations, but I think you are quite correct when you say that it's only going to go to those news outlets that fall in line with what the government deems to be news.
And you don't think somebody at CBC will all of a sudden miraculously have their own new production company, but really be a CBC lackey for the money, follow the money. It's like the Biden crime family. You don't legitimately make your money by having 500 shell companies and be doing things legitimately. It's all money laundering. Shell companies.
Now, here's this stuff from Elon Musk. This is, I don't know. I just stumbled on this and I thought it was interesting. He's posting these sort of eye puzzles, I guess you would call them. I don't know if you know what the word for this is, but you can see there are numbers in there, right? Can you see that? You're able to?
Yeah, and obviously offhand it isn't pi. What is 3452839 exactly? Can we duck go or gibberoo that number?
I hadn't thought of that. Let's do that. So it's a puzzle. So I thought the answer was just being able to read it. So I put my answer in there, which was 3452839.
Yeah, there is that. There is an issue of spatial visualness. Can you see this? Or remember the whole dress thing? Did you see, what was it, pink or purple? Whatever the color.
Well, here it
is. Some people could see it, some can't, but there's got to be a reason that number was chosen.
I don't know. Well, let's see what we have here. There's a news story online about it. which I was not aware of until just now, till you suggested I Google the number, which I did. And here's something on some website called Scoop. And they are saying, what number do you see in this picture? The viral optical illusion takes the internet by storm. And yeah, I saw the number 3452839, and that's the one that they put up here, which I guess I got it right. Does that mean I win the prize money? How much was he offering there? $1 million? Yeah, $1 million. One correct answer wins 1 million. So I guess if you get it right, which I did, I guess your name must go into a hat and he pulls out a winner. Maybe we'll win $1 million and our financial troubles here at Maverick News will be solved.
Wouldn't that be
Dream
nice?
on.
Yeah, I won't hold my breath, Rick.
So it says here, people have found a new optical illusion to obsess over. A seemingly simple image shared by Twitter user Banan Wine features a number partly concealed within a striped black and gray circle. Do you see a number? If so, what number? They ask in the tweet. While this initially looks like a fairly easy task, you soon realize the zigzag pattern of the circle makes things a bit tricky. Thousands of internet users from around the world have viewed the visual puzzle since it was posted on Twitter and have been baffled by how many come to very different conclusions about the hidden figures.
And it's like, again, like that. Do you see gray or yellow dress or what? Do you remember that whole thing?
I don't know. I'm going to say that being able to see the number 3452839 is a sign of high intelligence.
Hey, they invited me. They invited me into Mensa for a reason, but I didn't accept.
Well, their loss. It says chances are the number 2 jumped out at you almost immediately. Maybe you were also able to make out the 528 or the 4528 without straining your eyes much. Many said the number is 45283, while some others claimed they saw the number as 15283. The correct answer, as it turns out, is 7 digits long. Closer inspection reveals that the number is 3452839, which is what I got. A fact that baffled many Twitter users who weren't able to make out more than 3 digits within the swirly circle.
Yeah, all about your eyeballs. Because again, I'm
telling you, man, if you can see the 3452839, it means you are highly intelligent, good looking, and charming. and really friendly.
But not likely to win $1 million.
Yeah, very unlucky too. Very unlucky. I'll tell you what, if I win $1 million, I'll take you for lunch.
Wait a minute. I gotta go, Rick. I gotta go play that number in the lottery.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And we do have to go because it's time to wrap up for the night. And that was a lot of fun. And Joseph, thank you, sir. I'm going to throw it over to you for a final comment tonight.
Well, we covered a lot. I wasn't necessarily expecting all that we did. I'm glad we landed on a kind of a fun thing, but still important. Again, I mean, human nature and how we are different. I mean, that goes to show another thing that indeed different people could see or hear different things at times. I love the whole dress thing that occupied the internet for like 6 months too. This will probably go on for 6 months too.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm good looking. I don't know if I'm charming. I don't even know if I'm highly intelligent. I do know this. My brain pretty much resembles that word puzzle or that number puzzle there. It's all kind of jumbled up and it's really hard to figure out what the heck is going on. But that's kind of par for the course in this strange time of internet information warfare, and we're in the fog of war. And what else can I say except that tomorrow night we will try to continue to clarify things and get everybody here closer to truth on the Maverick News channel. And actually, you know what? It won't be tomorrow night. I forgot. I almost forgot. I have a family thing tomorrow, so there's going to be no show. I'm not working tomorrow because it's my wife's birthday. And
happy! We can't sing it.
Now, I would say I can't afford the alimony, right? So I gotta. But it's a moot point. I don't have any money, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like we discussed the other day,
Like-
she's 50% indebted with you.
That's
so.
right. It's my non-profitable business. It's not non-profit. It's non-profitable. Anyway, thank you everybody for hanging out here tonight. I will see you Sunday. We have a special guest on Sunday. You're not going to want to miss the program. A young person that I made contact with on Twitter, or no, TikTok. I just happened to come across a live stream. I started to chat with her, and she has, some very different political views. And the reason I want to bring her on is we're going to have this in-depth conversation about the way young people view America, the West, and I'm going to try to figure out and understand why they view things the way they do, why they we're going to just try and understand the new generation. I am anyway. This old fossil is going to try and learn something from somebody new.
That was a recent piece of mine at the Liberty Beacon. Let the left keep pushing, generational shift occurring. A lot of the youth are awakening to the woke stupor and the push of leftist indoctrination, and they are rejecting it. I hope she's among that crowd.
She's not. No, it's the other way around. I'm going to try but we're going to have a really good conversation, and I'm going to try and understand why she views things the way she does. Hopefully, I can share some stuff with her that maybe we'll reach some middle ground. But it's going to be a pretty cool conversation. She had thousands of people watching her stream, and somebody I've never heard of before. And I thought, wow, she's really resonating with people. I'm listening to what she's saying, and I'm like, I need to understand this. I need to get into a conversation with her or someone like her. But she agreed to come on, so hopefully on Sunday that'll happen, and you'll all be part of it right here in Maverick News.
It will all come down to, as discussed before, is she a classical liberal and open and reachable, or is she purely leftist?
I don't know. Anyway, see you guys Sunday, 7 p.m. on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.
Okay, yeah, I've got a call coming in here, Joseph, so I'm going to have to sign off. But thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. I got to get on this call, though.
All right, see you later, brother.
Okay, yeah, I'm still here. Don't go away. Okay, now I'm back.
Okay.
Hang on just a second.